Congratulations. Welcome to the club. Yay! I'm so excited. Okay, so you all have been selected to join this year's North Carolina Junior Children's Book Award. I know when you were younger, you did the Picture Book Award. This year, you're older, and you're doing the junior book, the chapter books for the older guys. And this is how it's going to work. So we're all, I thought for a good team building exercise, we would all read the same book together, and I'll talk about that in a moment, and then start on a group project. Then throughout the year, you can read all of the different nominees. That's your choice, and I'll show you in a moment the book trailer so you can choose. You guys get first dibs on the books, and the first book we're doing, you get as a gift. You get to keep that one. I thought you'd be excited about that, yes. And then as you're reading new books, all of the North Carolina nominees, you can create book trailers for them, and I'm gonna give you guys all access to all of the fun toys we've got. You can do Chatterpix, you can do green screen, you can do Morpho. I'll teach you how to do all that. It's your choice what you wanna do. And then we're going to be playing these commercials on our Friday news program, and also creating QR codes, and we're gonna affix those to the books so that kids who are thinking about reading them will see your book trailers. Last but not least, we will have food. I'll tell you more about that. Okay, but first, in the interest of time, since we do have a very special guest speaker, I want to introduce our first book. This is The First Rule of Punk. Has anybody read this book yet? Okay, Sasha, tell us a little bit about The First Rule of Punk.
This girl, Mary Louisa, she moved, and her parents are divorced, and she likes punk music, and she goes to school, violates the dress code, creates a band, and stuff like that.
Right. And what does she does one thing in particular that really helps her kind of process all the changes she's going through. She's done a big move, she's living in a different part of the country, she's away from her dad, who she's really close with. So what does she works on something that helps her go through all this. Do you remember? Zines, yes, zines. Does anybody know what a zine is? Yeah.
Isn't it kind of like a magazine?
It's like a magazine that you create, and that leads me perfectly to our super cool guest speaker. This is Ziba Zidran. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Now let me pull it up so they can see you. There she is, everybody wave to her. Miss Ziba is a super cool librarian in Los Angeles, California. This is her day off, by the way. This is her day off, and she's sharing it with us. She is an expert about zines. She's going to give us a little introduction about what they are and hopefully inspire you to work on our group project where we're going to be creating our own zines. So thank you so much for joining us. We're so excited. Everybody give her a round of applause so you can see a little bit better.
You're welcome. I love technology because I'm in California and you're in North Carolina. You were on East Coast, West Coast, and we're talking this morning. I'm so excited.
Let me do that so you can see them a little bit.
So this is my zine. I make a zine called Zebra Radar. This is volume 3, and this is what it looks like once it's put through the copy machine. But how you make a zine is you start from just cut and paste. That's the way I like to do. So all I use is just use a glue stick, and I use a Sharpie that's like a 5-point, so I can write on top of my pictures, and I use scissors or I just tear. So I just take things that I like from magazines or discarded books, or I make my own poetry, or I draw, because a zine can be anything you want it to be, just a folded piece of paper, and you can make it from a large piece of paper. You don't even need staples. You can take a paper that's like the tabloid poster size, and then you can fold it. They call it the hamburger fold, and the taco fold, and the hot dog fold, and then you cut it in the middle, and then you get your little booklet. This is one I made at the library, and it's about unicorns.
We've got a few unicorn fans here. Just a few.
And I collect zines for my library to circulate. I put them in the library with the barcode so people can check them out. So here's an example of one that has a barcode on it. And well, this one we took out, but this one is the label of the library code, main library. And then we get donations in the mail. This one I just got. It's a really cool zine. I haven't read yet, but it's a lot of good information. And so you can make your own zine about whatever you like. Here's another zine from an Irish librarian living in Belgium. And they make a whole zine. So it's like a comic in a way. It's an illustration comic. This one looks more like a comic, and it's more done digitally. But anything you want a zine to be, it can be. It doesn't have to be. It's just drawings and words, and you just fold and staple. And here's like a collaborative zine we did at a conference when we all met. We each did a different page. So together, we put it together. So you could do a class zine where all of you do a page and put it together. And then it could be like a yearbook even, like just to pass around with friends, with jokes. That's how I learned. I learned in high school. My friends were doing it and said, hey, can you write a joke? Can you write a movie review? Can you do a recipe, a little drawing? And then we put them together, and it can be all different sizes. Here's a smaller one that's just stapled together. So it is very DIY kind of punk, very do-it-yourself, non-commercial. There's no ads. It's not like a real magazine that has advertisements. This is non-profit, just for fun. So we have Zine Fest where we trade and sell, but usually it's just $1 to $5 a zine. We're not trying to make money. We're doing it because we love zines, and this one's funny. This is a Zebratron. I love zebras. So it's like so anything you like. If you have a favorite animal, you can make a zine about it. And then when you have your hard pages done, like here's some scrapbook style zines I did on like a journal. So you can just cut and paste, and then you take it to the copy machine and you make black and white copies of it. So you save your original, and then you make copies of the original on a copy machine, and then you just fold and staple. And that's when you get all your zines to send in the mail to friends or to libraries. So here's a bunch I was folding and stapling.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that people around the world are sending you their zines for your library. That's so cool.
Yes, we're lucky.
So you've got zines that are targeted for children and some that are for adults, I'm guessing?
Yes, we have for all ages. So we have a section for children, a section for young adults, and a section for adults. And because everybody likes to make zines, and so we even have senior citizens at the library making zines. So.
So cool. I love that. I love that. And I especially love the recipe zines. I am all for that. The kids at our school know that the rule is if you check out a cookbook at the Media Center, you have to bake Mrs. Fiedler cookies.
Yeah.
So, it's the law. I don't know. It's some North Carolina law. I'm not sure exactly, but that's the deal. So I'm all for those children. Yes. So could you, I know I'm springing this on you last minute, could you talk for just a minute or two about the history of zines? I know they have a really important part, especially with social justice.
Oh yeah, zines really started from the day, a print press, a letter press was made, and anyone was spreading the word around town about any ideas, so maybe more in politics and anarchy, and they were trying to go under the mainstream, go under the radar, and then send messages to their friends to spread the word, sort of like a newspaper, but it's just do it yourself. So you just do one thing and make copies of it. So the letter press with the letter blocks, you just make a whole bunch. So back like decades and decades ago, so zines really came out of we didn't like what maybe the government or the mainstream was producing, and we wanted our own voice to be heard, so we make our own publication. And so it's very DIY, do-it-yourself punk, doing like whatever you want people to hear. So it doesn't have to be political, but maybe that's kind of where it started. And then even later with sci-fi, with a lot of science fiction, then we get fanzines, and the fans are really into recreating the story. So like Star Wars or Star Trek, there's a whole bunch of other stories we make because we like those characters. So we make up our own fan fiction, and those are fanzines. And even with bands and lots of 80s and 60s, 70s, people really like these bands and they want to make a zine about it and do all these things about like a Beatles zine or a Morrissey zine. So we just really like, that's why we say punk music too, are big zines like a Rebel, Riot Girl, a lot of La Tigra and Bikini Kill. These are bands that are very into the zine scene. And so that's a big, they have a Riot Girl archive, I believe, in New York. You can check out all the zines from back then. So it's kind of a 90s thing. Some people nowadays are saying, oh, why are zines coming back with the internet? Why do we have the printed material? Because, you know, it's still nice to do art and to do cut and paste and to take, and use a typewriter. I used a typewriter on this, so it was really fun to go in and just use, we don't see a lot of typewriters, so vintage, retro, cut and paste, it's really fun for me.
That's a cool idea. I bet we could get a typewriter in here. I bet you guys have, raise your hand if you've ever used a typewriter. Have you? Okay, they're pretty fun, yeah. That's a good idea. I was going to ask you 2 more questions, and then I know the kids might have questions for you too. Look at how cool that is. Talk about the printing press. And these guys all know about Gutenberg and their printing press. We learned about that last year. Talk about a rebel. There's a rebel for you. But I've got 2 quick questions for you. One, did you work at all with Celia Perez on her awesome book, First Rule of Punk?
No, I just met her through the internet, through Instagram, and I saw how cool, like, she was doing a lot of cool stuff, and then she sent me a zine to my zine library, so I have her zine in the collection at Los Angeles Public Library, Baldwin Hills branch. She has a Ghost in the Library zine, and it's a really cute little zine, so I used it in some of my, I left it at the library, but it's over there. It's really cool that we have her book at the library, and we have her zine at the library.
That is so awesome. Oh my gosh, that is great. Well, I wanted to ask you really quickly, Celia Perez has a great page, which you may or may not have worked with her on, about how to create a zine and the different supplies, ideas that you might want to use. One of them that really piqued my curiosity was I think it's like the film from a security envelope. What is that all about?
Yeah, I saw that in the zine she sent us. It has film, like actual film strip. So like 18 millimeter film, 16 millimeter. So when you splice the film to cut and edit to put it together, those little pieces, the scraps, you can throw away or you can use in your zine. And I did some of that with one of my scrapbooks, because really anything you can glue down or paste down or tape down or staple down, you can put in your zine, and the Xerox, the copy machine will just see it black and white. But also I have one right here, kind of. It's more like from your camera.
Oh, cool.
Colored.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Like a slideshow. It's very like retro.
There's a lot of retro in this, it seems like.
Yeah, it's really fun to go back and use what people used for one thing, but do it as a different thing.
Yeah, oh, that's right. It's like creative recycling. That's so cool.
Whoa, that is good.
Well, these guys don't know it yet, but I mentioned that we're going to embark on this group project. It's going to be zines. There are going to be some zines that you might want to keep to yourself that are private just for you. There are some that you might want to share with the world. And if the ones that you want to share with the world are amazing, I'm going to catalog it, barcode it, and add it to our collection. So we are going to have our own zine library.